In our interview, Dr. Fayemi talks about how the government is trying to turn the solid minerals sector into a major source of revenue amidst calls for diversification from oil. Dr. Fayemi, you're welcome to the program.
Good to be here again.
Well, the commercial value of Nigeria's solid minerals sector really runs into hundreds of millions of dollars, really, but it is largely unexploited. So we're wondering again, what seems to be that main issue?
Well, a couple of issues. First, we've largely ignored the sector in terms of a policy direction for a considerable period of time because we focused almost exclusively on hydrocarbons. So solid minerals has never really occupied its pride of place, particularly after the discovery of oil. Even when it did, we ran it as a public concern. The Nigerian Mining Corporation was the driving force at the time. And with the best of intentions, this is something that really ought to be driven largely by the private sector.
How much progress do you think we have made? I spoke with you about 2 years ago on this same issue, and you enumerated the problems. You talked about how to go about it. You had sort of a grand plan to sort this out. So how far do you think you've gone?
I actually think we've made considerable progress. The problems I highlighted when we first spoke, as I was entering this job literally, had to do with data, for example. Yeah. Geological data was inadequate. Now we can reasonably boast of having electromagnetic data that covers the entire country that can be accessed by those who want to have at least a first level understanding of mineral types, quantity, quality, and where located.
You have a comprehensive data on
We
this.
do have that now. So that's at least something for the average investor who is keen to know. In terms of data and facts, we're no longer where we used to be. 2, access to finance has been a challenge in the sector because it's a capital-intensive sector. We have, at the level of the small-scale miners, we've put some funds aside for them via the Bank of Industry that you can access. It's the very first time that small-scale miners can access fund at 5% interest rate, which has never happened. And we didn't want to run this ourselves, so we placed the fund in the Bank of Industry. Which
How much?
5 billion in the first instance. But for a sector that has never really even had 0 naira put into it by government as support to small-scale investors, and 80% of those operating in this sector are really small-scale players. So it is significant that we're doing it, but we're not stopping there. We're also launching a mining bond, which is a much bigger fund. It's a $600 million fund that investors can access, again, purely on a private, commercial, evidence-based level, so that if you want to come into this sector and you want to invest in people who show promise, and there's a lot of Nigerian companies that are showing promise. I've just returned from the largest mining conference, the Africa Mining in Durban in Cape Town, which took place this month. And a Nigerian company won the Emerging Company Award. And for the first time in a very long time, Nigeria also entered the pantheon of one of the 10 most investment-friendly mining countries. This is something that has not happened. In terms of progress, we are making progress, but I must also calibrate that because this is a sector that is really long-term. Progress would not come if we focus on it in drips and drabs. We must be ready for the long haul. It does not align with electoral cycles. It's far beyond that. And that's why when you look at our roadmap talks about a 25-year plan. We're setting up, for example, a mining commission, which is a regulatory commission that brings together all of the regulatory agencies in the similar format that we've had with NCC or the Electricity Regulatory Commission, and you have everybody under one roof. an umbrella regulatory agency.
We'll talk more about that, but the sector contributed about 14.6